ROWE is really about bringing efficiencies. And if people have to work a certain number of hours, they generally won't try to find efficiencies in their work. If you know that you've got to work an 8-hour day, then whatever task you're working on you'll get it to take you 8 hours because you've got to work those hours regardless. But if you, say for example, knew that if you were finished by 3 o'clock, you could be done, you didn't have to stay at your desk till 5, or you didn't have to carry on working until 5, then I guarantee you'd get it done quicker because there's an incentive there to work more efficiently. It's all about creating a kind of an environment, like a fluid environment where people feel so much more at ease in their job because they know that the smarter they work, the quicker they work, the better. Whereas team members that have to work a certain number of hours will make work fit those hours. It's not necessarily an easier way of working, I wouldn't say, but it is a more grown-up way of working. Obviously, everyone has contracts and it's stipulated, and also in our employee handbooks, about the amount of work people are allowed to do, and you can't work too many hours. So that is enforced from a legal perspective. But realistically, if people are working too much or feeling like they're burning out because they're working too much, they will leave and go and find another job. So, you have to manage that. You have to manage workload in the same way that you manage it now. That's not really a difference. You already manage your workload and the amount of work you expect people to do. So you're still doing that the same. It's just you're not telling them that they have to spend a certain amount of time doing it. We still have all our internal processes for quality checks in the same way we had before we had ROWE. That hasn't changed. And, as much as we expect a certain level of output or quantity of output, we expect it done to a certain standard. And the two requirements have to be met. So when we say we're talking about a results-only working environment, those results are what we determine them to be. So you have to determine those results, communicate them to the team so they all know what they're doing, and then that's monitored and implemented as we go along. I think that realistically is the way that employers will start to see the light. It's, if COVID hasn't taught us that people can work more flexibly, then I don't know what will. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to implement. I would recommend that anybody that's thinking about doing ROWE buys the book that's called Why Work Sucks and How to Fix It. And that is by the people that created ROWE. I read that book before I even did anything at all towards implementing ROWE. So I read the book. I knew I wanted to offer it. Anyway, I read the book. That cemented in my mind that I definitely wanted to offer ROWE to the staff and everybody. And that just made it make so much more sense reading the book, because if they talk about a person, a young woman starting a job and saying, well, can I do these hours, or can I, initially, can I do these hours, and then a bit further down the line, well, can I just work sort of in the evenings, and can I do that? And the company not wanting to let her do that, and her saying, but I'm achieving more than other people, I'm achieving more than you're expecting me to achieve. Why can't I? The book is a really good starting point for anyone thinking of implementing a fully flexible working environment, because it really gets you thinking about why you want to do it, which I think is so important. The why is the big bit for me. I don't know how many hours a day my staff work. I don't know when they do them, and it makes no difference to me or my business. In fact, it does make a difference. It makes a positive difference because they do what they want and they work much more productively. But we have busier times of year. So leading up to January, it's really, really, really busy, and April is really, really busy. But then February and March is quieter, and summer is quieter. So as accountants, we have those kind of highs and lows through the year. So I would expect the team to probably work more hours in January, and probably work less hours in February, March, and then work more hours in April, May, and less hours in sort of July, August. So it, kind of balances out over the year, really, with our kind of demands. Yeah, I mean, if you can get your work done in 4 days, don't work 5. And if that is not an incentive to people to work smart and improve your business processes, then I don't know what is. I genuinely don't. It's going to be unlikely that people can fit all of their work into 1 hour a day if they're full time. But if they manage it, then who am I to say anything about that? Being strict on hours doesn't support a work-life balance, in my opinion. To me, a work-life balance is working when you want to work. So if you wake up at 5 a.m. and you can't get back to sleep, but you can't start work till 9, what a waste of a morning when you could sit there and smash out 3 hours of work before, anyone's got up or gone to work yet. You might get to like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and think, my head's just not in it today. I can't think straight and I'm not getting this done. I want to go for a walk, or I want to finish today and I'll pick it up again this evening when the kids are in bed. You should be able to do that. So if you have KPIs and output requirements from your team, then it's up to them when they do it and how they do it. Not saying 9 to 5:30 kind of is a way of improving people's work-life balance, because I don't think it does. And my team would agree on that. Let me make this clear. My business is open 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. So as far as clients are concerned, that is our opening hours, and we as a company are open and able to help them during those hours. Our admin staff do not work under ROWE because we have to have people working those hours to answer the phone and be here and available for clients during those hours. I know there's companies that do it other ways, like they use a call answering service and things like that. So there's other ways of doing it, but they have set hours, and that is because their job, it does not fit with a ROWE pattern. It just doesn't. And that was always the case when they were employed, and made very clear. So, it doesn't suit every single type of job. It doesn't suit every single type of business. But you have to have things in place like that to manage, like you're saying, ad hoc. Also, along with that, we have expectations. So as a company, we have expectations, like the whole team know that we have a 4-hour turnaround time for phone calls and emails. That is internally and externally. So for example, if at 3 o'clock I phone one of the team because I need to ask them something, they have got until 11 o'clock the next day, because it's 4 working hours, to come back to me. Now, realistically, they're probably going to come back to me quicker than that. But again, if a client called at 1 o'clock, they should be called back by 5 o'clock that day. So if the staff member is out and about doing whatever they want, gone out for lunch with some friends, for a couple of hours, they know they're taking a couple of hours out of their day. That's shortening their windows 2 hours maybe for how quickly they can get back to people. If they want to be completely undisturbed, then they take annual leave, and then the 4 hour obviously doesn't apply to them because they are officially not working that day. It doesn't work great for part-time people, like just being completely honest. We do have a few part-timers that do work under ROWE, but it's not ideal, because it's not so bad if people are part-time and they work Monday to Friday, so they work every day but just maybe shorter hours. But part-time people that work the odd, like a couple of days a week or 3 days a week or whatever, it's not ideal, because the way ROWE works is people can be contacted at any time of day or night. That is one of the conditions of ROWE. If someone, say for example, works Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and doesn't work Thursday, Friday, and a client calls to them or a member of staff needs them, then technically we're allowed to contact them on a Thursday and Friday, which obviously are not their working days. In reality, our part-timers still do it and it works okay. We know the days that they generally work, because they are the days they've chosen to work because of other commitments, whatever that might be. Maybe it's childcare, whatever the reason is. We know the days they've chosen to work, so no one ever contacts them on the days off. Like, we just don't, out of courtesy. But if it was an emergency, I would contact them. But then I don't feel like that's any different to a non-ROWE working environment, because if there was an emergency and someone wasn't in, I'd contact them. So I don't feel like that's any different. So with part-timers, you pay them what they're currently being paid. Whatever their salary is what you pay them for the amount of work you're going to give them. The salary part is not dependent on whether they're part-time or full-time. It's whatever you're going to pay a part-time person or whatever you're going to pay a full-time person for the job. But part-time and ROWE is not as easy as full-time. But just remember, everybody, that the results only working environment, or certainly for us, it was optional. Okay, I never made anybody say yes to this. I said, this is what I want to do. You can choose to do it. You can carry on working 9 to 5. But either way, you have these KPIs to hit, whether you work 9 to 5 or whether you work flexibly under ROWE. You still have to hit the KPIs, because the KPIs that I've set for my entire team are what their job requirements are. So that is whether they work 9 to 5 or whether they work under ROWE. So it was optional. Not everyone had to do it. Make sure that if you're going to implement ROWE, that you consider whether you force it upon people or let them choose. You probably have a couple of people, maybe one or two, one person that doesn't want to do it to start with, and then they'll very quickly change their minds once everyone else starts doing it. So that's how we do it for part-time people. Alexis, do you have any staff that would prefer to go back to the traditional set hours? Oh, that follows on really nicely from what I was just saying. So, no. No, I don't. I had one or two that didn't want to do ROWE to start with. They really didn't like the idea of, and they were part-time people actually. They didn't like the idea of kind of being contacted whenever, and they liked their set days. That's why they chose to do part-time and do those days. So I was like, fine, absolutely. Like, you carry on working 9 to 5, but you still have to hit your KPIs like the rest of the team, and you can't just come and go as you please. So we use a range of KPIs that are quantity ones, i.e. how much work is being done, quality ones, so to what level of quality they're being done, and development. So everyone has to do a certain amount of training per month. Now, there's no point me telling everybody specifically what KPIs that I have as a company, because A, they've changed over the last year and a half that we've been doing it. And B, your KPI should really be whatever you have issues with in your company. That's what I think. So whatever is a concern or something that needs monitoring is what should be a KPI. So for example, someone asked me the other day, you have a 4-hour turnaround time, how do you monitor that? And I said, I don't. Never have. The reason I don't monitor it at all is because I've never ever once in the last almost 6 years of running my business ever had a client leave or complain or comment on it taking too long for someone to get back to them, ever, because we are rapid. So it's not an issue. I don't need to monitor it. It's not a KPI. So that's the kind of approach I would take. So I would literally write down all the things you want to monitor in your business, all the things that are, what's taking too long, where are mistakes being made, what are causing customer concerns, like all of these things, what are causing staff concerns. Write them all down, get them all in a list, and then build your KPIs. Every single month have KPIs, measurements, if you like, for those issues. And then you will adapt them as time goes on. So ours have changed every time we come up with, new ones, because there's new things we want to look at or monitor. So yeah, everybody works under ROWE apart from the apprentices that have just joined. So they will have the option to work under ROWE. But initially, because they are brand new from school into working, it's their first job and they've never worked in accounts before and stuff, we ask them to do 9 to 5 just so that we know when they are working so we can support them. But once they're at a stage that they are able to work on their own a lot more, then they will be able to do ROWE as well. So it's really just making sure that training need is met. We know when they're going to be working and where, so we can make sure we're there to support them. And yeah, all the junior staff work under ROWE. Everybody does, apart from admin people and the new apprentices. I think any work, I'm not going to sit here and be like, the work environment is just perfect all the time. It isn't. It's a normal working environment, and you're always going to get issues. But on the whole, there's nothing I can think of where we've had a major issue at all with anybody saying they're helping others too much and other people are not, or anything like that. It's a real team spirit, team environment, and everyone supports each other. If there are any issues, for example, like if someone's struggling to hit their KPI, but another member of the team is able to hit it, then I would encourage those two people to have a conversation with each other. If one's managing to hit it, they can help the one that's not, because they're doing it. So what are they doing that can help the person that's not to hit their KPI doing the exact same job, sort of thing. So communication is just really, really key. If anyone has an issue, then we just want to talk about it, resolve it, move on. The bottom line is that you need to have your company values nailed down before you even look at KPIs or ROWE, because your company values will drive everything that you do in a company and what your decisions you make. Our company values are set, and a team know what they are and what we as a business are all about. And then you implement ROWE, because you say, ultimately everything that you do has to align with our company values, everything. And if you've got solid company values and you've got solid KPIs, the ROWE is just an extension of that. It doesn't feel like such a huge leap, because you just literally go, everyone's going to align with these company values, everyone's going to hit these KPIs in order to stay employed. And then you go, okay, well, how you do that is up to you. And that is literally all you're doing in essence. But you've got to do what works for your business at the end of the day. And what do your staff think? If you offered them full flexibility, what would they think? Because so many businesses say that they're flexible. This is probably not going to go down very well, but I'm going to say it anyway. So many companies think that they're flexible and they're not. Telling your staff they can work when they want as long as they do their hours is not flexible, in my opinion, because you're still controlling people's time and demanding a certain amount of time from people, when why do you care how much time they give you? Why do you care? As long as you get enough work from people, the time shouldn't matter. So if you really want to be flexible, then look at, then offer full flexibility and look at a results only environment, not saying people, as long as you can work between 8 till 6, but start and finish when you want between those hours, and we're a really flexible employer. No, you're not. Or we let the staff work from home 2 days a week. Wow. It's not flexible, it's not. It's still controlling, telling people that they can have 2 days a week from home. Well, what if someone wants to work 5 days a week from home? What if they want to work 5 days a week from Spain? We're taking on a new employee who starts in April, and she wants to travel the world, and she said, I want to just get up and go to Spain for a month and stuff like that. And her employer were like, we can't allow that. And I was like, we can. Don't care where you work from, just get the job done and do what you want. It's great you want to travel. I think that's amazing. Go do what you want to do in life. And that, I think, is allowing a work-life balance.